I'm MG Siegler with TechCrunch. I'm here with John Doerr, who just unveiled the new sFund, which is a new $250 million fund for funding social applications. So this is pretty exciting. You know, this is kind of going along with the idea of what you've been doing with the iFund and, you know, back in the day, what you did with the Java fund.
But this is very social, so I'm thinking of it like it's a $250 million party.
Right, that's a nice way of putting it. You also were saying, you know, that this kind of bubbled up from the idea of a thing you were talking about at our own Disrupt conference, which is the third wave. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think we're at an extraordinary moment in time where there's this kind of convergence and tsunami of innovation in mobile, in social, in the cloud, and in commerce. And for those forces to come together is really rare. The first time I saw this happening was in the early 80s with the microchip and the PC. And then very interestingly, 15 years after that, in 1994 and 95, along came the internet and the web, and it enabled a whole wave of opportunities. So fast forward 15 more years to today, and we're seeing the breadth and the maturity of social networks in Zynga as an example, that entrepreneurs can build great, big, valuable services and businesses on top of these robust networks.
Sure, and you've talked about, I know many times, that Zynga is the fastest growing company, I think that...
Fastest growing, most profitable company with the most happy customers that Kleiner Perkins has ever invested in.
That's pretty...
So the reason I'm doing this is to find more Zyngas.
Right, to find the next one. And so how important is Facebook in this equation? I think you guys are saying that, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be built on top of Facebook. You know, it could be any social application. Flipboard, you know, is not a part of this fund, but they're an example of a company that you've invested in. And while they have some Facebook integration, you know, they're more predicated around the iPad and you know, even Twitter and doing some other social things. How important is Facebook in particular to the sFund?
Well, it's the sFund, not the F-Fund,
right.
or the FB fund.
Right.
But Facebook is just key. You know, they've got the biggest, broadest, deepest, largest. I guess that's the same as biggest. Let me try that again.
Sure.
They got the biggest, broadest, deepest social network. And this announcement is important because I think with it, they're really committing with their money, with their time and resources, that this kind of platform, these kinds of applications are really important to their future. Having said that, we don't control any of the companies we invest in. The sFund won't. And so the entrepreneurs are going to make their own best decisions.
Right.
Flipboard's a perfect example of that. They said we can make the world's best social magazine by taking feeds from Facebook and feeds from Twitter and combining them in a way that makes a really wonderful new kind of experience. The feeds are personal,
right.
They're live, and the thing is just drenched with wonderful photos, so you have this gorgeous social magazine experience. Here's an important point. Whether it's Flipboard or Jive or Zynga, we're just getting started. This is the early innings, if you will, of social, and I can't wait to see how far it goes over the next decade.
And speaking to that a little bit, I know you, like myself, are huge into the iPad and kind of this next extension of computing. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, how will that, do you think, play into this sFund in particular? Are you guys looking, you know, more at the mobile space and more at the mobile computing space, you think, than the actual desktop space now?
Yeah, I think the internet's moving mobile, and that's where all the action is. So there would be a lot of ventures that are invested in by both the iFund and the sFund.
So there can be overlapping.
Absolutely so. If we'd had the sFund in place, it would have invested together with the iFund in Flipboard. Perfect example.
And NG-MoCo.
NG-MoCo also.
Yep. Yeah. Gotcha. And kind of extending upon that then, what are your thoughts maybe about, you know, the Android platform? It's obviously the up and coming thing that people are talking about, you know, kind of it's got more momentum right now maybe than the iPhone, and you know, it's got a lot of users and developers coming along. Are you guys interested in kind of helping those developers along like you did with the iFund, you know, helping those guys really develop for the Android platform?
Well, for both the iFund and the sFund, they don't decide what entrepreneurs do. That's not my job. My job is to try to have their vision, be able to attract the best people, to be sure they never run out of money, and execute really well. So what I said about the sFund, I said about the iFund. Our mission is to find, fund, and accelerate the success of these entrepreneurs wherever they want to go.
Okay. And so maybe a year from now, can we expect another doubling down, and are you going to see a $500 million sFund?
If we run out of money, I think we'll be able to get more.
Good. Sounds good. All right. Thanks a lot for taking the time.
Thanks very much.